One of the fastest ways to lose your best employees is to let your worst employees operate without consequence. And I know this sounds harsh, but it is true. Your good employees are watching. They are watching the person who is late every week. They are watching the person who always has an excuse. They are watching the person who creates drama, avoids work, ignores standards, and somehow still gets treated like a special case. And eventually, your good employees start asking a very reasonable question. Why am I working hard if this is allowed? This is the part leadership misses. They think poor performance is it's just a problem with one employee. It is not. It becomes a problem for everybody because when one person does not carry their weight, somebody else has to. When one person is constantly late, somebody else is covering. When one person brings a bad attitude every day, everybody else has to work around it. When one person keeps getting away with things, the rest of the team knows what the real standard is, not the policy, not the mission statement, not what leadership says in meetings. The real standard is what you allow. Your good employees are not stupid. Good employees notice more than leaders think they do. They notice who gets held accountable and who does not. They notice who gets coached forever while everyone else is expected to figure it out. They notice when management avoids the uncomfortable conversation. They notice when a problem becomes everyone else's problem, and a lot of them will not say anything, and that's what makes this dangerous. Your best employees are often not the loudest complainers. They are usually the ones who keep showing up, keep doing the job, keep picking up the slack, and keep trying to be a professional. But they are watching. And once they realize leadership is not going to deal with the problem, something changes. They may not quit right away, but they start caring less. They stop going above and beyond. They stop volunteering, stop trying to fix things. They start doing only what is required. And can you blame them? Why would your best people keep giving extra effort in a workplace where the lowest standard keeps getting protected? Avoiding accountability is not kindness. A lot of leaders confuse avoiding accountability with being compassionate. It's not the same thing. Compassion is giving someone a fair chance. Compassion is coaching. Compassion is understanding that people have real lives and sometimes need support. But letting someone repeatedly damage the team is not compassion. That is avoidance, and it is unfair to everyone else. At some point, leaders have to stop acting like every issue is just a misunderstanding. Sometimes the employee knows exactly what they are doing, and sometimes they have learned that if they push enough, complain enough, or make things uncomfortable enough, leadership will just back off. And when that happens, the manager is no longer managing the employee. The employee is managing the manager. That is a problem. Being short-staffed is not a reason to keep the wrong person forever. This one comes up all the time. We can't afford to lose them. We're already short-staffed. We need bodies. I get it. But here's the part nobody's saying out loud. A bad employee is not always better than no employee. Sometimes keeping the wrong person costs you more than the vacancy you would have. They drain the manager's time, frustrate the team, they lower morale, they create rework. They push your good employees closer to the door. So yes, maybe you filled a spot on the schedule, but what did it really cost you? Because if keeping one problem causes two employees to leave, that was not a staffing solution. It was just bad math. Inconsistent accountability destroys credibility. This is where leadership loses people. Not because one person made a mistake and not because someone got a second chance. People understand that. Leadership loses people when accountability is inconsistent. When one employee gets written up for attendance, but another employee gets endless warnings. When an employee is expected to be professional, but another employee gets to be toxic because, well, that's just how they are. When an employee has to follow the rules, but another employee gets exceptions because they are loud, difficult, or hard to replace. That is when a good employee stops respecting the system. And when they stop respecting the system, everything gets harder. Now every correction moving forward will feel personal. Every policy feels selective. Every decision gets questioned, and that is because leadership trained the team to believe the rules are flexible depending on who breaks them. That is a leadership problem. Your standards are only real if you enforce them. Every organization says they have standards. Attendance matters, teamwork matters, respect matters, quality matters, professionalism matters. Okay, then prove it, because if someone can ignore those standards over and over again with no real consequence, then those are not standards. They are suggestions. And your best employees will know the difference. You cannot tell people you care about teamwork while allowing one person to make the team miserable. You cannot tell people attendance matters while letting the same person call out every Friday. You cannot tell people that professionalism matters while allowing one employee to talk to people however they want. At some point, the words stop mattering. People believe what they see. Accountability does not mean being reckless. Now, to be clear, I am not saying leaders should start firing people left and right. That is not good leadership either. You still need to be fair. You still need documentation. You still need consistency to understand whether this is a protective issue involved. You still need to give people a chance to correct behavior when it's appropriate. But you cannot confuse process with paralysis. There's a difference between being careful and being scared. There is a difference between giving someone a fair opportunity and letting them drag the whole team down for months. A difference between documenting properly and hiding behind we need more documentation forever because nobody wants to make a decision. Good HR is not about avoiding every hard call. It is about making the hard calls the right way. The longer you wait, the more damage you will do. The longer leaders wait to address a problem, the more the team pays for it. And by the time leadership finally gets serious, the damage is usually bigger than the original issue was. And now the team is frustrated. The manager has lost credibility. The good employee feels completely taken advantage of. The problem employee has been allowed to believe this behavior is acceptable. And what could have been a direct conversation months ago has turned into a deeper culture issue. This is why early accountability matters. A simple conversation early can prevent a much bigger problem later. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's why it is a concern. Here's what needs to change. That is not mean. That's just management. So if you are in leadership, understand this. Your best employees are watching how you handle the worst ones. They are watching whether you protect the standard or protect the problem. They are watching whether accountability is real or just something you talk about when it is easy. And if your strongest people keep seeing the wrong behavior tolerated, do not be shocked when they stop giving you their best. Good employees will carry a lot, but they will not carry dysfunction. At some point, they will either lower their effort or leave. And when that happens, the issue is not just the bad employee, it was the leadership that allowed the bad employee to become everyone else's problem. That's the insight for today. If you found this useful, stick around. And if you need practical HR support for your workplace, I'll have my HR consulting website linked below. I'll see you in the next one.